What up? Tone Space right back. Now, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to try to clickbait. I'm not into that shit. Anyway, I'm just going to come straight out and tell you this new paperwork that I'm about to glance over and break down to y'all looks bogus can get. Straight like that. This is a follow-up to my last video where I broke down Max B's, alleged crime and conviction and alleged cooperation that they trying to put on him and shit like that. And I also spoke of his co-defendant that's doing time in jail right now. I think life, if I'm not mistaken. Hold your head. Pooh Sims, his stepbrother, right? And I broke down towards the end of the video how Pooh Sims said on Thanksgiving he's going to drop a bombshell in the form of more paperwork or something of that nature that is supposed to implicate Max B in cooperating, right? Thanksgiving came and went, nothing dropped. However, there is a post, I believe it was on Instagram, that just came out today, and I'm going to show it to y'all. It's by way of Truth Teller TV, who normally covers Chicago-related drill scene stuff, right? And this paperwork, well, we're just gonna take a look at it and we're gonna talk about it, right? Check this out. Now, I'm not the paperwork guy, right? By no means. I'm not on 1090 Jake, nothing like that. However, as you could see, just glancing at this, these are the things that is supposed to make Max B guilty of straight up super duper cooperation, right? This screenshot and this screenshot. Operative term, screenshot. It looks like someone took a camera of two pieces of paper, right? I don't see any docket number. There's no proof that this came from an official source online, Pacer, or whatever y'all paperwork sleuths do to find the real shit or whatever. There's no signs of it. It's just two screenshots of paper with words on it, right? So that's the first thing. Now, we're going to read the caption that I believe Pooh Sims accompanied along with this so-called paperwork. Let me see if I get it from the top. UPLED, I guess that means uploaded, or maybe that's a code for, no, you pled, that's what he's trying to say. You pled not guilty, in parentheses, not guilty, went to trial 2009, translation, and then you went to trial 2009. 7 years later, okay, he said the word twice. 7 years later, 2016, you pleaded guilty, saying what you were supposed to do. In that I'm miserable, SMFH. Guess that's how you justify backdooring your brother that is completely innocent. Now, I want y'all to hold on to the last sentence that Pooh Sims put in this caption. And the main term is your brother. Backdooring your brother. Keep brother on your mind as we go through this. Let me make sure everything's showing on the screen. All right, it's shown on the screen. Good. I hope y'all can follow me and y'all able to see the whole thing as I read it, right? So now, let's get into it. Some of this is covered by the caption, so I'm gonna try to do it. Okay, let's just get to it. This is allegedly transcripts of Max B sitting down with detectives, boys, appeal counsel folks, somebody of a law capacity, right? Q&A, question and answer. Question. All right, and you do understand that. Sorry, I can't read the shit above it, right? Max B allegedly says yes. All right, so now I'm going to ask you some questions about this offense. First, I'm going to have you go back to the day before that, September the 21st of 2006. On or about that day, did you have a conversation with two of the people that you're charged with in this indictment, Gina Marie Conway and a Kelvin Leardam, excuse me. Max B's alleged answer, yes, I did. Question. All right, and I want to focus for a moment. Kelvin Leardam is your half brother. Is that correct? Yes. We're going to pause right there. We're going to continue it, but we're going to pause right there. Remember, the caption says you backdoored your brother. Now, unless I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But from the research and the looking into it that I've done, Max B and Kelvin Leardam, a.k.a. Pooh Sims, are not blood related at all. That's not his half brother, according to what I'm to understand. That's his step brother by way of both their families having a marriage. Step brothers have no blood relation. Half brothers means that's half your blood brother. Now, these people, the law, let's just say, that have been like thoroughly up and down this case for a long time, ever since it happened, they're going to be super thorough and everything like that. Are they going to make that mistake? They done went to trial and all types of stuff. Are they going to actually make that mistake as to incorrectly ask Max B if that's his half brother? How plausible is that? Right? So that's the first thing, right? And then let's just assume, all right, they are going to mess up like that, right? Max B's lawyer is going to want Max B to answer as minimally as possible, yes, but as truthfully as possible. So would Max B answer yes to a question about that being his half brother if they have no blood brother relation with each other? So you got to go through 2 checkpoints of suspect behavior, of the law messing up that much to not call it what it is and say that that's his stepbrother and ask him if that's his stepbrother. But after that checkpoint, let's say they sloppy, then you got Max B, who's under pressure of having to be extremely truthful. You know what I mean? Is he going to say yes, or is he going to say, no, that's my stepbrother? Now, check this out. This is where the psychology of it comes in. Let's just assume somebody were to create some fake paperwork. Who put this out allegedly? Pooh Sims. So if Pooh Sims wanted to put out fake paperwork, let's look at the landscape of everything that's going on and the canvas of the whole painting, if you will, right? Max B's the superstar. Max B was the rising superstar before he left. He was the free Max B star while he was locked up, and now he's the budding flower about to grow and blow. Pause. Now that he's out. Superstar status, getting all the attention. Unfortunately, Pooh Sims still locked up for this crime. Whether he did it or not, I'm not to say. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, Pooh Sims has been trying to pump this. Max B has been cooperating, telling, I think at least since 2016, maybe even earlier than that. So he's been on this for a long time, trying to gain attention and garner attention about that shit, right? So wouldn't it make sense from a psychological level? Max B's the star. So like, let's say Pooh Sims wanted to clutch on to some form of star power in itself. Then isn't it plausible that instead of just saying, yeah, that's my half brother or whatever, he's just gonna kind of summarize it or go as far as to say, nah, that's my brother. That's my brother. What did he say in that caption? You backdoored your own brother. Now, a stepbrother, people could look at them as they, their brother. A lot of times niggas ain't gonna make the distinction, especially if they have that brotherly relationship like that. Okay, fine. But it's just interesting that Max B got the star power. Pooh Sims is trying to gain attention and put out Max B's star power light. So wouldn't it make Max B look more bad if he's saying like, oh, you backdoored your own brother? Because that's what he said in the caption. So he already starting off with, oh, that's my brother. So if he would have faked some paperwork, right? Would it not make sense that he wants to keep on riding that brother wave? And then just say like, and have them, the fake question be, yeah, Kevin Leardom is your half brother, right? And then have Max B fake say yes, to keep that narrative of like, yo, that's my blood did me wrong. He's the star. I'm halfway related to a star type shit. You feel what I'm saying? So that's where the suspect shit comes in. We got a potential motive from Kelvin Leardom, aka Pooh Sims, to want to latch on to some of that star power and say, fuck all that half brother shit, that's my brother. So that's a decent enough motive for him to jack up, have people jack some fake paperwork where he's saying, where he's creating a scenario where Max B is saying, yeah, that's my half brother. Right? So that right there, to me, that's a huge red flag. Again, 2 suspect checkpoints. First checkpoint is that the law is gonna mess up and assume and believe that they're half brothers when that's really his stepbrother. And then if you assume that, okay, then Max B, who has to be truthful under, the oath or whatever it is in that law situation, his lawyer's going to tell him to be super truthful. He's going to correct him. He's going to say, no, that's my half brother. Let's go on. Question. All right. And did you and Mr. Leardom in particular have an agreement that Mr. Leardom was... Okay, then it goes into page 14, right? Again, nothing at the top of a date or anything that says this is from an official source or anything like that, right? So they didn't answer that question according to what was revealed, but it has Max B allegedly answering yes to some other shit they asked, I guess, on page 13 that we don't see, right? Question. Mr. Leardom was gonna, interesting wording for official documents, not going to, was gonna go over to the state of New Jersey, and he along with Gina Conway were going to try to steal money from a couple of individuals. Answer, yes. All right, now the individuals we're talking about are David Taylor and Alan Plowden. Is that correct? Yes. All right, and you've indicated to me that back in September 2006, it was your understanding that these two men, David Taylor and Alan Plowden, would routinely have with them in their possession large amounts of cash. Is that your understanding? Answer, yes. All right, and that the reason, again, more fucked up questions, typo, so to speak. Question, all right, and that the reason why these two individuals were specifically targeted for a theft by yourself and Mr. Leardom and Mr. Conway? Answer, yes. All right. Now, you also explained to me that because these two men routinely had in there, and that's where it ends. And then we just see a picture of Max out to jump off, shining with the jewels on, doing his 1-2 thing. So there's a whole lot of red flags. Here's another red flag with this, right? Remember, earlier in this video, I said that Pooh Sims has been at this whole Max B cooperated, Max B snitched, Max B did this during his appeal. He doubled down on the snitching and all this type of shit. He's been jacking this shit for a while, for like 9-10 years, maybe even longer, right? So how come during that time, since Pooh Sims was throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick, how come we never saw this transcript back then? Why is it coincidentally now popping out and popping up now that Max B has been out for a couple of weeks, shining, doing his thing, while unfortunately Pooh Sims is sitting down doing time or whatever? Why is it coming out now? Another red flag. I just read it to y'all. There were a couple typos or bad grammar written up quotes by whoever the official authorities are. None of that makes any sense to me. The whole shit sounds bogus. So I advise that if anybody comes across this so-called paperwork, don't pay it any mind. This shit is straight bogus. I'm convinced that this shit is 100% bogus. And again, when I first heard that Pooh Sims had info of Max B allegedly telling that was supposed to be during Max B's appeal process, which I think was in 2016, from the research I've done, that information was supposedly just Max B or whoever wrote it up for him doubling down on the alleged cooperation that he is said to have done at the time of the crime or after the crime. Meaning going something like, appeal board or whoever, Max B was very forthcoming. He was very cooperative. He told us where Gina worked. He told us where she might be staying at, stuff like that. He gave our detective, his number and all that. So that's why we feel that, y'all should let him out because he was very cooperative back then, shit like that. That is supposed to be the big bombshell of Max B giving up information when he made his appeal in 2016. But if I'm not mistaken, this shit Pooh Sims is putting out now, I believe he's claiming that this was the shit that he was on to help his appeal process back in 2016. And as you can see, this shit makes little to no sense. another thing, I just saw a video by Al Prophet, real good video. It's very similar to the one I did on Max B, breaking down the case, breaking down what was going on. He went into depth of a lot of details that I didn't go into, and then there's some details that I went into that he kind of glanced over. You know what I'm saying? So if you were to watch my video and then watch his, you'll get a nice, full picture of the situation. So do tap into that. I believe his channel is called American Dope. Check it out. If you're watching this after I did the video, it should be one of, if not his latest videos. So check that out. Or is his channel called Al Prophet? I don't know. Type in Al Prophet, A-L Prophet, type in American Dope, and then put Max B in the search. You'll find it if you're not already not tapped into him, right? But I want to say one thing that he said was very interesting. Because if you watched my video before, I was talking about when the Plowden dude got robbed, and unfortunately the Conway individual got killed. The people that broke in stole some clothes, right? Plowden dude was 6'4", and some clothes that would fit a big person were stolen. And they even said it in the article that I read, that those clothes no way would have been for Max B. They also mentioned how Gina was staying with some bouncer. I forget the bouncer's name, but the whole time she was messing with some bouncer, as well as still trying to get back with Max B, but she was messing with some bouncer that also had, a husky and a tall size to him, where the clothes might have been for him. And then Al Prophet, that is, went as far as to potentially suspect that it might have been that bouncer that was there on the scene. Because remember, when I did my video, I straight up said, anything I'm reading from is alleged, because I never heard from Pooh Sims as far as to know whether or not he put himself at the scene of that crime. I never heard from Max B, meaning, of course, not directly personally, but also not from interviews or anything like that from either of these people. I never heard what his take is on it, on if he actually did tell Gina, oh, we're going to get that dude for some guap and I'll love you forever if you take my brother with you. All this stuff was the woman Gina's testimony, who was the star witness. So that's why I could never say that any of that was necessarily true. So let's say Pooh Sims wasn't there, and that's what he's maintaining to. It is possible, because the only, if I'm not mistaken, the only evidence, or so-called evidence, that puts Pooh Sims at the scene and puts Max B as the conspirator on the scene of the time when they were planning the shit was the testimony of Gina Conway, right? So let's say that neither of those things happen. That could change the scope of a lot of shit. Because remember how we went over, supposedly the detective came to Max B. Max B allegedly was cooperative in the sense of telling where Gina worked, telling where she might be laying at, shit like that. Supposedly gave the detective his number and checked up and called, to find out what's going on. Well, let's say that he never did anything, but he never told Gina to go get dude for the paper. That's some shit she made up, being jaded or whatever the heck is going on, or to protect her man, the bouncer dude that may or may not have been the real one that did it, right? Then I changed the scope of a lot of shit. Because let's say detectives just pop up on him and they don't even tell him it's about a murder. He don't even know anything about some murder scene that she was at, and they just say, yo, we looking for Gina. Oh, I don't know. She could be at the strip club. She could be at my brother's crib. You know what I'm saying? Now, because we already on the fence, at least I am, on if it's considered cooperation, what the paperwork says that he did do, saying where she worked and where she might be resting her head. But that's under the auspices of him being aware that they're looking for her because she was at the scene of a murder. But then what if they don't even tell him why they looking for her? And let's say he had nothing to do with the shit, so he would have no idea why they're looking for her. In fact, that actually fits for him to be that forthcoming with where she is. Because if he really set the shit up, then finding her is only going to fuck his situation up, will it not? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's interesting. Check out Al Prophet's video. And again, I'm going to close out and say, do not jack this paperwork. This shit is full of that. It's full of shit. Straight up like that.